What's up guys, how's it going? Hopefully you still remember me. It's been a hot minute, but things have just been so hectic and busy recently, and I've honestly lost a bit of motivation when it's come to creating long form content. As I found with shorts, they're just so much easier to edit and a lot less time consuming. But I've been diving and filming more than ever recently. Like I spent 10 weeks over in Tonga and I got some incredible footage that hopefully I can start getting through and uploading. And I was fortunate enough to win the South Australian State Spearfishing titles again in January with Rob Trelli this year because it was recently changed to a pairs format. So I got some cool footage from there. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much, but I filmed this video a while back and it's a bit of a controversial video, but the aim of this is to hopefully spark and challenge a lot of your thinking when it comes to spearfishing sustainability, as I feel there's a lot of misconceptions out there. I lost the intro to the video, so I'll just start from here, but please let me know your thoughts and whether you agree or disagree with any of the points I'm making. Please just watch the end of the video too before making any comments. Spearfishing is ancient practice dating back thousands of years, and to many, it's not just a sport, but it's a lifestyle that deeply connects us with the ocean and gives us a great sense of well-being. With the increasing number of people fishing and the advancement of technology, there's no doubt an increased pressure on marine life worldwide. The phrase spearfishing is the most sustainable method of fishing is often thrown around, and many of us, including myself, agree that spearfishing can be. However, that's only when it's practiced correctly, as it can also be unsustainable. For example, let's take this day shown in my thumbnail. I vividly remember this day, which is what I'd consider one of my most successful dives. I was stoked and proud to selectively harvest a bag of wild-caught seafood for my family and friends without bycatch, leaving a low-carbon footprint and creating unforgettable memories with my mates. It was this day's catch that led me on this complex journey of what sustainable spearfishing actually looks like, as honestly, a part of me did feel a bit guilty. Because did I practice sustainable spearfishing correctly? Well, to even begin addressing this question, we need to look at several factors. Firstly, what exactly does practicing sustainable spearfishing correctly look like? Well, the most common argument I hear is, I only take what I need, therefore I'm being sustainable. And that's great, and shows that you've got restraint and have passed the stage of wanting to shoot as many fish as possible. To a certain degree, this could be considered practicing sustainable spearfishing. But what if, let's say, a large number of spearers all did this from the same spot and only took what they needed? Could this still be deemed sustainable? Honestly, I don't know, just some food for thought. Anyway, moving on though, what else could be viewed as sustainable spearfishing? It could also mean targeting species that are already deemed in sustainable numbers, utilising as much of the fish as possible to minimise waste, sticking to the government size and bag limits, carefully choosing and rotating the spots you dive to reduce pressure on certain areas, targeting fish at the right time of the year, understanding the biology and ecology of marine life in the area. The list can honestly go on forever, but I believe these are all key aspects of sustainability. But what even is sustainable fishing? Well, a quick Google search shows sustainable fishing can be defined as leaving enough fish in the sea while protecting habitats and threatened species, so that people who depend on fishing can continue to maintain their lifestyle and livelihood. What I absolutely love about spearfishing compared to other forms of fishing is the selectivity that we have, which is fundamental to sustainable spearfishing. We have complete control over what we want to select, target and shoot, which leaves most species unharmed and untouched in the process. Selectivity also means we can only harvest fish that come within range, distance and depth. On the other hand, it can give us the option to select the biggest, the more curious, the bold, and the less experienced fish. At the end of the day, selectivity is just a word, and it's the application that decides sustainable or unsustainable actions. So how can we apply selectivity to ensure that we're spearfishing sustainably? This is something that I'm constantly thinking about, and I've come to realise there's actually no one correct method, as there's way too many factors and unknown variables that need to be considered, such as the location you're diving, how remote it is, how many other people dive it, the biology of the fish you plan on targeting, how often you go spearfishing. The factors are endless. Despite all these unknowns, I've been able to find somewhat of an answer, thanks to my good mate Bill Go, who's a marine biologist and also a devoted spearo. He's come up with a theory called the sustainable spearfishing mindset. This mindset is a foundation need to act sustainably. If you're watching this and thinking to yourself that you already consider a lot of these points, well then you're pretty much already there. The sustainable spearfishing mindset requires understanding the biology and the ecologies of the areas you dive in and the species you're targeting, as it will allow us to make better choices on what we choose to shoot. For example, I believe I can go to certain spots and take a 3-kilo lobster and it'd be sustainable, compared to other spots which couple a lot more fishing pressure. Taking a 3-kilo lobster probably wouldn't. The same applies to, let's say, a flathead. In some spots, me taking a 60 centimeter flathead is fine, while in others, it's best not to. A perfect example of understanding biology would be looking at an Australian salmon. I know from research that they are considered the very sustainable species to take due to having an extremely fast growth and reproduction rate, as well as being adaptable and resilient to environmental changes. Despite this, the most common argument against spearfishing, which does my absolute head in, is that spearers are always shooting so-called breeders. Seriously, if I had $1 for every time I heard the phrase, "that's a breeder," I'd literally be richer than Elon Musk and Bill Gates combined. No joke. But to be fair, there is some truth, but it's not as black and white as people think. Bigger doesn't always mean it's a breeder. For example, a 20 kilo mahi-mahi would only be around 2 to 3 years old, versus something like a 40 centimeter brim, which could easily be upwards of 20 years old. It's a common fact that pelagic fish often grow faster and have a higher reproductive rate than a demersal fish, making them generally more sustainable to target. So just because a fish may be big, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's old. Research has shown that with a lot of marine species, that the bigger models can mean better. Bigger can mean a better breeder, a better protector of the school, and better genes to pass on to the next generation. So the reality is, it is important that larger individuals survive to a certain degree. Knowing this can be conflicting for us spearers, as we more than often desire to harvest the biggest fish. We love the Instagram-worthy fish photos, the biggest fish fillets proudly served at the dinner table, and of course, the challenge and adrenaline rush of fighting a big fish. I'll be the first one to put up my hand. I'm definitely guilty, and still guilty, of often doing this. The truth is, for me, bigger and more impressive fish also means more views on my videos, which results in more revenue generated. It's honestly a real conflict for me, which I'm still struggling with. Something I've been trying to do more of though, is shooting fish with a camera, instead of always with a spear gun. The funny thing is, we were never trained or taught to target the biggest fish. I reckon this instinct is still ingrained in our DNA from our hunter-gatherer ancestors, who sought the biggest catch to sustain their communities. I reckon our brains are still wired this way. Like when we spot a school of fish, our default reaction is to seek out the bigger ones. However, rewiring this mentality to make these decisions quickly is challenging, because we often have just seconds from seeing a fish to pulling the trigger. It's going to be a constant battle, but just know that by not pulling the trigger on a fish will very rarely have a negative effect on the ecosystem. Hopefully you understand the points I'm trying to make here, and not thinking that I'm saying you can't shoot big fish anymore, because hell yeah, I'm still going to go out and shoot big fish. The difference is, I'm going to try and go about it with a sustainable spearfishing mindset, which is the one to achieve a sustainable lifestyle, and balancing getting the feed with being a responsible steward of the ocean. I'm not even close to figuring it out, but I think I'm on the right path. So to answer the question, based on everything I've just discussed, did I practice sustainable spearfishing correctly? Well, let's look at a few of the species that I shot this day. First up, I shot 2 harlequin fish, which are legal and complies with the government regulations, so therefore it must be right. Well, once again, it's not that simple. Looking at the biology of a harlequin, you'd learn quickly that they're a species very vulnerable to overfishing due to their slow growth rate and the fact that they do not move around much. But who knows, it may have been sustainable or it may not. I know in hindsight, I probably should have just taken one. Knowing what I know now though, I've made the decision moving forward that it'll be unlikely that I take another harlequin from this spot for a long time. Next, I shot a small yellowtail kingfish, which was out of a school of about 30 fish. Looking at their biology, they are a pelagic, fast-growing fish with a high reproductive rate, spawning multiple times during the breeding season. This fish would only be 2 to 3 years old, so based on that, I'd say that was a sustainable take. I also took 3 blue morwong this day, while leaving a few. There's very limited research on this species since they're not a primary commercial target, however they are considered somewhat of a slow-growing species, so it is important to harvest them through a sustainable lens. You get the gist, I'm not going to go over all the species I shot this day. Another major factor that can be taken into consideration is the location of this spot. I know that this area is rarely dived due to its remoteness, its weather dependency and depth, which does help take a lot of spearfishing pressure off it. Anyway, this day was back in 2021 and I went back to this exact same spot last year in 2023 with this shifted mindset and was able to apply it. During the dive, I saw 3 blue morwongs. I took 1 and left the other 2. I also saw 2 small nanny guys and a harlequin and chose to leave them both as I didn't feel the need to pull the trigger. I believe this day I did demonstrate the right mindset and hope to continue with this. Sustainable spearfishing requires effort and responsibility. It's not just about the thrill of the hunt, it's about ensuring future generations can experience it too. As a commercial fisherman, sustainability is even more imperative, as my livelihood depends on it. By adopting sustainable practices, we're not only protecting marine life, but also preserving our sport's integrity. For me, it's simple. It all comes down to understand the areas we dive and the species we target. This will change over time as the area and ecology evolves and as we improve our knowledge and experience. Embracing this requires an open mind and common sense. So do your homework, it will 100% pay off. And also, by being sustainable and selective, you'll actually end up shooting more fish in the long run. This will forever be an ongoing journey for all who fish. The more we spear, the more we dive, the more we see, the more we learn, and the better we're gonna get, and hopefully become more sustainable in the process. So join me on this complex journey as I try and navigate through on how I can become a more sustainable spearo while trying to have my cake and eat it too.